All right. So, recently, you have been asked to come to the gathering place at, in the middle of the afternoon. It was around 2 o'clock. When you enter the gathering place, you see Arthur Ames, the village leader, his best friend and the doctor in the village, who was a doctor previously. He's come over, he survived, he's still the doctor in this village. His name is Dell Johnston.
Okay.
What you know about Dell is that he is kind of an odd guy. He's polarizing. People either really listen to him because he's a doctor, or they find him extremely odd and don't spend much time around him. Shoot. Hold on a second. Drew just finally answered.
Do you want to join in?
Well, I don't know if there's any way to run his with yours. So I'm going to tell him it's best if we hold off, and that way when you join up, it'll make more sense. There's no way for me to run his. He's already too far ahead.
Yeah.
So, you see Dell, again, he's polarizing. You can decide, you go ahead and tell me, what do you think, do you want to be on the polarizing side, or I'm sorry, the odd side, or the, you trust his judgment side of Dell?
Because of my background of, feel like I would be ostracized, like him.
If you liked him?
Yeah, I do like him.
Oh, you do like him. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll listen to his opinions. You also see a woman who is crying. She's really, really upset. She's crying pretty bad. You recognize her as a woman named Lily Deeppockets. And if that doesn't give it away, she's the rich one. She's the only one in the village who has managed to she's older. She came over on the original ship, and she managed to get some of her gold off of that ship. So that's why she is basically the richest woman in the village. But she is she's very upset right now. Arthur and Ray. Oh, I'm sorry. Reagan's also there. Arthur and Reagan, as you know, already know of your background, and they have called upon you to help Sonia, assuming you're willing, obviously.
Okay.
So that's where it starts. You can kind of announce your presence, and we can begin.
Hello, I believe I've been summoned.
And Arthur, he's a really charismatic guy. People in the village love this guy. He's very nice. He says, Tarn, I'm so glad that you're here. Please come. We need to speak to Lily.
All right. What's going on here, Lily?
So Lily looks at you with this face. I mean, she's got tears in her eyes. She's having a hard time. You know, when people are upset, they have a hard time catching their breath and speaking. So she's struggling. She starts to try to talk to you, but can't. And Arthur interrupts and answers for her and says, "Little Lily's daughter," and you would know this. You know her name because you know everybody. Sonia has gone missing. She was kidnapped last night. We believe she was kidnapped. She's wasn't there this morning when Lily woke up. So he explains that, and then you see that Dell he has kind of a less sympathetic opinion or appearance of it, but he's listening intently.
So what was did anything out of the unusual or out of the ordinary happen with Sonia?
Lily has finally started to catch her breath, and she says, "No, everything was fine last night, and and nothing seems to even be disrupted this morning in her room.
Alright, I'm gonna turn to Dell and like go off to the side a little bit and ask him what he thinks.
So Lily starts to cry again, and Arthur's kind of consoling her as you pull Dell aside, and he says, "Well, she's more than aware. Oh, damn it, Ty! I need to give you two massive pieces of information."
Okay.
So there are two huge recent developments in the village. The lake that has been somewhat dangerous for a long time, like people have been careful around it, because there have been disappearances of adults and kids, and there was a very tragic drowning at one point. Used to be, relatively clean water. It's not like crystal clear, but it's nice water. You could swim in it if you had to. Has recently started to turn black. It's practically completely black at this point. And then off in the distance to the east, above the enchanted forest that is across the lake, way off in the distance, there you can see black clouds of coming up from the forest. So those two things are very important. So Dell says, in this gruffer voice, he says, she knows the dangers of letting her child be unsupervised at night. I'm not saying it should have happened, but she was fully aware of it.
You think she went to the lake?
I could not tell you what she has done, but I would think that's probably the only true danger in this village.
I appreciate your insight, as always, Dale. So I'm gonna go to
he just
Arthur.
says no problem.
I'm gonna turn to Arthur and it's like, so I was summoned here. Is there anything you want me to do other than just investigate this?
And he says, Tarn, all I would like is that you try to find little Sonia for Lily. She has agreed to pay you very nicely if you can bring her daughter home.
I will do my best.
And he says,
I will absolutely do my best.
He says, that's wonderful. That's what I was hoping you would say. And he says, and he actually pulls you aside, and he looks at Reagan and he looks at Dell, and he says, can you two watch after Lily as I take Tarn upstairs to my living quarters? And they nod their head, and Reagan walks. Reagan has a fucked up leg. It's completely destroyed right now. It's got like a very bad injury, and so she limps over to, and she's got a cane. She limps over to Lily and puts her hand on her shoulder and tries to console her and tell her that you're a remarkable man or elf, and you'll be able to find her daughter. So she sets the expectations high for you, and Arthur kind of gestures for you to follow him, and you head up these stairs to a basically the same exact size and shaped room, but it's got a door that you go through. It leads to a living quarters. Downstairs was more of a meeting hall. This is a nice living area. And Arthur walks over to a closet, and he says, if you're going to look for, he's almost whispering just to be careful, but it's not like a really quiet whisper. He's just trying to keep his voice down, and he shuts the door behind him. Okay. He says, if you're going to look for Sonia, you're probably going to encounter something of dangerous magical powers. Now I know that you know that I'm fully aware of your druid powers. So please be careful not to use them in the village, but feel free to use them as much as you need. You think is necessary when you're looking for Sonia.
If you think so, Arthur, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
And he kind of nods his head, and then he pulls this thing down out of the top of the closet, and it's a nice wooden box. And he walks over towards you, and he says, "This has been in my family for a long time, Tarn. I try not to use any of the magical things from my family's history because the village is so close-minded. But I think you need this in this time of need, or this time of peril." And he opens it, and it's like a black cloth that's folded over, and he sits it down on the table, and then he opens it and he pulls this cloth up out of it, and he kind of holds it like this, and it falls down, like unfolds, and it's a cloak, and he hands it to you, and he says, whenever you're wearing this cloak, you'll be able to hide in the shadows. It's almost as if you become the part of the shadow, and you can jump, not physically jump, almost like a teleport. You can jump from a shadow to any other shadow within 50 feet of where you're standing. So you can basically move around stealthily with this cloak on, extra stealthily.
Okay, I got that down.
And he also hands you, he says, "Reagan wanted me to give this to you, in case you didn't come back to go to her hut with her before you went on your journey." And he hands you a potion, or like a little vial, and he says, on it says "Potion of Healing." And that I can't remember the exact details of a potion of healing. I'll look it up before you actually use it, but clearly it's going to help you restore health. And he says, "We honestly have," and I hate to do this to you as the DM because I know you need info to some degree, but he says, "I honestly have no idea where you should start your search. I can tell you that there's probably something magical at foot, but there's just no signs of where Sonia may have gone."
Alright, I nod my head, and I head downstairs and exit the building. But I nod my head towards Reagan, though. So she knows what it means. And so
she nods back.
Alright, so I'm gonna head towards the lake.
Okay.
Start there.
Alright. So it doesn't take long to get there. Nothing in this village takes more than 5 minutes to get to. So you just walk out. You can go right or east, right towards the lake, and you're there real quick.
So I want to stand like off to the side of the lake and just kind of examine like the water and all the forestry around it to see if I sense anything that's been changed or anything different, since I'm accustomed to that area since I trained over there.
You get zero sense of anything that would be, disrupted or different. The animals don't even seem to be behaving differently.
Okay, I'm gonna go and stare into the water.
Okay, so as you walk up to it, there is absolutely no reflection. The water is practically a blank black pit at this point.
Okay. And I believe in your message you sent me, you said there's an island in the lake?
Yeah, so there is. It's not directly in the middle of the lake, but it's out into the middle and then off to the right some.
Okay. I want to go north of go as far north as I can, without actually going into the lake, and start searching around there. So I'm in the woods, I'm guessing?
No, you're technically... Here, let me show you the pic one more time.
Okay.
Okay. Let me pull it up. Can you see that?
Okay, so that'd be okay. So I do not want to go north.
Yeah,
Okay, I
north
want
is
to.
gonna be the mountain range. There, so like you are basically cut off from any other land unless you manage to find a way across this lake.
Okay, I want to search. I want to go back into the village and ask around if anybody knows if any. I'm gonna go back to Arthur, see if he has any idea how to get to the lake.
Something that you would already know without having to speak to him from living there is that the log jam, the guy
Hmm.
that owns the log jam's name is Horace, and he can build and has inventory on hand of things that he builds the boats for fishermen. He does a lot of stuff wood related that you could easily take care of. And you start with 10 pounds of slate also. You may not have all of it on you since 10 pounds is a lot of weight, but
Yeah.
you have it available and you have a house or you can live with Reagan.
Okay, I am going to go to Horse then.
Okay. So Horace is like at the opposite end of this street. He lives down by or up by the north part of the lake that I just showed you, but not up by the mountain range, just the northernmost part of the village. So he just has a little house basically with a an area out back that he works at with his wood.
Okay.
You don't see him out back though as you approach.
All right. Okay, I want to maybe snoop around his house a little bit. See if I see anything I could possibly use to get me there.
Okay, so as you go into the back, there's nothing in the front. He's just got a storefront on the along the street side, or along the side of the street. But in the back, you see that he has a dock and four boats, tied up to it. And they're just like the small little boats with the front that's kind of angled so it cuts through the water, and two benches inside for people to sit on. They're very basic, but they're floating.
Okay, I am going to leave a piece of slate down, and I'm gonna use one of the boats.
Okay.
I'm gonna put like on the docks.
Okay. One thing you do notice though is that there are no oars in any of these boats.
Oh shit. All right. I'm gonna go search around his house to see if I can find something I can use as an oar.
Okay. And I'm just giving you information for these particular, like certain spots like this that have
Hmm.
already come up from the prior play. So when you go looking around, you don't see any specific oars, but you do see like a shed with a lock on it. Um, and you could probably find some sort of makeshift or if you wanted to look for that.
Okay. Um, I changed my mind about the entire thing. I pick up my slate and I'm gonna go to Reagan and see if she has any potions that allow me to walk on water.
Okay. Um, so you're going back to the gathering place?
Yes.
Okay. So you walk in. Reagan and Dell and Arthur are now away from Lily. It appears Lily has left the gathering place, and you can walk up to her and talk to her however you want, or any of them. They're all together though.
All right. Reagan, do you have a moment I can speak with you?
And she says, "For you, Tarn, I have a century." And she walks over towards you, but then she says, "But more realistically, this leg injury is getting very bad. I don't think I have a century." she
I kind of grimace because that joke is kind of weird. If she's ever played it. Do you happen to have any potions I could drink that could make me walk on water?
I do not have anything that could make you walk on water, Tarn. Not at least not made currently. I could try to make it for you, but at this point having a hard time getting around, like out in the nature, finding her ingredients. She says my leg is just keeping me from walking too easily enough. If you would like to find it, I could give you the ingredients to look for.
Alright, yeah, that's good. I could do that. You know, I'm an errand boy, that's what I do.
She says that she'll have to go back to her hut with you to find the ingredients.
Okay. I'm
Um,
gonna
Go ahead.
I'm gonna follow her to
Okay.
her hut.
Okay, so you guys are. She bids Dell and Arthur a farewell wave, and as you do, you also look and wave towards him.
I'll give him a little head nod.
Arthur nods at you. Dell doesn't acknowledge you though, and it almost seems as though under like lowered voices, they might be maybe arguing a little bit.
I turned to Reagan and said, What's all that about?"
She says, just differences of opinions, Tarn.
What?
Probably not best to speak of it here.
Alrighty. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna help her to the house.
Okay. So again, it doesn't take too long. It would take you very little time to get there, but together takes a little bit of time to get down the road. Is there anything you want to do before you get to her hut?
I am looking around to see if I see Horace.
Horace is not outside.
Okay. Alright, so I just keep walking.
Okay. You get to the hut, and she takes you inside. There is a girl sitting in the hut, working on like looking at potions and studying in a book, and you know her as a young teenage girl named Esmeralda. And
Alright.
she is the replacement for Reagan that Reagan has brought in before she probably would have been ready to, but because of this leg injury and the fact that it seems to be spreading and making her health deteriorate, she has brought her in early. And you know Esmeralda, just you've spoken multiple times at this point since she's come to the hut to study under Reagan.
Hello, Esmeralda. It's been too soon to see you, to be honest.
She's completely, she has like a little crush on you. You can tell, but it's innocent, but she has a crush on you. And she's like, "Oh, hi Tarn. How?" And she stutters whenever you're around. She's like, "How are you today?"
I just keep walking past her.
She's like, "Oh," and she just goes back to her work, and you don't see it, but she's pretty disappointed. So Reagan is like, she's walking slowly over to like her main bookshelf, and she's like scanning through it, and she's looking for the right one, and she pulls down this it's kind of a small book actually, and on the front it just says aquatic potions, and she slams it down, like not angrily, but she's just like kind of undexterous. She's like, she drops it down.
Are you drunk again, Reagan?
She's like, I wouldn't drink that urine shit from the pub if you paid me. So she flips it over. Esmeralda's a little bit startled by the loudness of the book, and then she flips the book open, and she's like scanning through it, and she says, "There's only a few items necessary for this, but unfortunately one may be in the enchanted forest. It might be the only place you could find it, Tarn.
Well, shit.
Have you considered speaking to Horace about a boat?"
I tried. I don't know where Horace is. Do you know where he is?
He's probably inside. He lives there.
Oh man, Reagan, you are too smart. Alright, thanks for trying, I
Do
guess.
you? She says, but if you happen to end up there, would you still like the ingredients because it might save you time in the future?
Okay, yeah.
She says, you need to get the bark of a blight. The bark of a blight. You need fresh water, about a jar full. You need a feather of a some type of bird. I don't want it to be too difficult for you to find. Let's just say a raven. That might be in the forest. And then finally she says, and this one might be the difficult one to find. Actually, the blight is the one that's difficult to find. She says, this one should not be too difficult to find. But you must be careful when you're getting it. You need to bring me the blood of the most noble person you can find.
Alright, Reagan, that's kind of dark, but alright, I got it down.
Yeah.
Right.
So that the blood of the noble person does not have to be taken forcefully, but the more noble the person, the more pure you will be, and the lighter you will be afoot.
I see. You're always so wise, Reagan.
Thank you. And she kind of puts her hand on your shoulder and winces because her leg hurts so bad, and she says, I'm not sure you're going to be able to find this little girl.
Why do you think that?
I think something evil has happened. I think there's a lot of evil going on right now.
Well, do you think it's worth going to the island to see if the girl's there?
And she looks at you and she knows a little bit about this island. You know this also, that Reagan has spent time looking for ingredients for her potions in the Enchanted Forest. So she's traveled across the lake a lot before this terrible injury and that she suffered in the forest. And she says, my first instinct would not be that she is in the lake. Or I'm sorry, in the lake, on the island. But you're more than welcome to check.
So you think I should probably start in the Enchanted Forest?
That's my gut instinct, Tarn. But like I said, there are no signs. There's no signs of. I just know that my time in the Enchanted Forest has made me aware of great evils, whereas the island has never seemed to offer up such terrible things.
Well, I thank you, Reagan. Do you have anything that I might need, might need if I'm going to the forest? Because I think I'm going to get there now.
What would you like?
What do you think I need? If you went there quite a few times, what did you need on your expeditions?
I would recommend that you stay in the southern part of the forest. That is the greatest thing I can tell you.
All right. So, thank you again.
And she says, she says, can you hold on just a moment? Let me see if I can find something for you. And she goes over and she's looking through, like she's basically just looking all around her house at this point, looking for several different things. Well, hold on, I'm almost there. I want you to roll a percentile die.
Ready. 0. You want me to roll D10 as well?
Yeah, I need the whole thing.
And another 0, so 100.
Okay. So she's still looking, and she's finding all these different things that she has stored away, and she keeps putting them back, and she's grabbing them and she's putting them back, and she's looking for the one that she feels would be perfect for you. She doesn't like your original roll, so give me another.
57 that time.
Okay.
What was the 100?
It was a pair of brass iron knuckles that releases jolts of electricity into the target, which might have been fun elsewhere, but this one wouldn't work. She comes back with 2 things, and the one she hands you this tiny dagger. It's not like tiny this way. It's like really thin. It's almost as if it's a sword shrunk down to dagger size, kind of, but even thinner than that. And it is. She looks at you and says, "This will pierce even the strongest armor with absolute ease." So whenever you use that dagger, the armor class of anybody you are fighting is dropped dramatically.
Okay.
And then she hands you a potion also and says, "I think you'll find that the greatest wisdom in the forest comes from the plant life, and the potion is going to allow you to speak to flowers, not trees, just flowers." And she says, so you can call that a potion of flora. She says, "It is very important that you get the perspective of the flowers if you are ever in need of information. They have a very different perspective than the trees."
Okay. This is. Let's see. How much damage does a dagger do?
Because it's so much basically better than a regular one, it's going to do a 1d8.
Okay.
Whereas normally it's a 1d4.
I'm guessing it's piercing?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Reagan. I knew you always had some cool stuff hidden away.
No, not a problem, Tarn. I wish you luck. Be very careful. Stay near the southern part of the forest.
So I'm going to head back to Horace's house, and I'm going to knock on his door.
Okay, and he says, "Who's there?"
"Oh, Horace, I've been looking for you. It's me, Tarn."
He opens the door up and he says, You don't come around here often. What do you need?"
Well, you see, I need a boat to get across this lake, because I need to go to the Enchanted Forest.
And he says, "Well, why don't you come on out back with me?"
Alright.
He pushes forward through the door and leads you back to where you were a little bit ago. And he says, as you guys are walking around the house, he goes, "I heard something out here earlier, but I didn't see."
Yep. That was me. I was, I thought I heard something, and, Reagan sent me on some catching Wumplewuts and, stuff.
Ah, yes, that's Reagan. She's an oddball. I don't know why you spend so much time with her.
I do like an audible grimace, or like a visible grimace, like. About those boats.
Says yes. One boat will cost you 5 pounds of shale or slate.
All right, you drive a hard bargain, but does this boat come with an oar?
Yeah, 2 oars. So, and he says, "If you're interested, let me go get them." and
Alright, wait.
he walks towards the shed and he pulls out a key and he unlocks it and he opens up. You see a ton of oars in there, and he takes two out and locks the shed back up. Actually, he doesn't lock it back up. He just walks back over to you and hands you the two oars, and he says, "I would be very careful around this black water. People have heard whispers that it's not the safest."
Well, if they're hearing whispers, perhaps they should go talk to Dell. It might be having some mental issues, but thank you nonetheless, Horace.
So he walks away and he kind of tells you good luck, and he walks back towards the shed and starts closing it up as you do whatever you want.
Alright, so I'm gonna jump in the boat, and I'm gonna start heading towards the southern part of the Enchanted Forest. I'm gonna just ignore the island totally.
Okay. So as you're going through here, as you're rowing and you're going through the lake, you do have to pass, or at least get substantially closer to the island than you would have started, and you're within range to see that the tiger that's known to be on Logan's Island is kind of walking around the beaches out on the island, but then when it sees you, it kind of stops and looks at you, and then runs away into the trees in the middle of the forest.
Oh, that tiger! Tell you what, that's a crazy tiger.
He is a crazy tiger.
I'm gonna keep rowing past it though.
Okay, so with nothing eventful happens on the lake, and you come up to the shores of the forest side of the lake.
Is it dark out yet, or is it starting to get dark, or is it still like pretty light out?
I would say it is close to 5 o'clock at this point.
So there's some pretty long shadows at this point.
There are some shadows. There's definitely some shadows, but it's not quite yet dark. It's still evening, basically. It's getting close to dusk.
Okay. I am gonna get off the boat and go stand by the edge of the forest and sit there and listen if I can hear anything.
Okay. This is not to be difficult for you. This is just what I had already planned. It is like eerily silent in this forest. It's like to the point where it makes no sense as to why a forest this size wouldn't have some type of animal noise or bird movements and noise and things. It's like oddly quiet.
Suspicious. I'm gonna look around and see if there's tracks of anybody else that's been around here.
Yeah, there actually are some tracks. Do a perception test though to see exactly what you can learn from you.
I just rolled nat 20.
Okay, so tapping into your nature-like skills, you look at them and then you just go, I know where to go. No, you look at these. You kind of kneel down and you look at the tracks that are made, and it looks like a humanoid kind of foot, but it doesn't seem to have any. What's it called? It's not a sole of a shoe. It looks more like an actual footprint, like skin to ground, not shoe to ground. And there are some the same exact looking tracks leading in and out of the forest. And the ones leading out of the forest head straight into the lake.
Suspicious. I am going to put my cloak on, and I am going to walk very slowly and follow the tracks into the forest and see where exactly it went to before it turn around.
Okay. So as you go into the lake, Oh, not the lake. As you go into the forest, are you kind of like staying in the shadows, or do you just have the cloak on ready to use?
I'm kind of staying in the shadows, just kind of hanging back.
So do you want to basically appear as though you're invisible to outsiders?
Yes.
Okay. So as you're walking from shadow to shadow, um, by the way, is that kind of a cool thing to have? Is that reasonable?
I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. All right. I didn't think to find you something exactly like I had looked ahead for the others, but anyways, so you're walking through this forest and you see that the the footprints leading into the lake and damn it into the forest just keep going and going and going. So you've walked quite a ways here, probably 30 minutes or so into the forest if you want to go that far. If you want to stop beforehand, you can.
I want to get that far. Yeah.
Okay. And as you walk these 30 minutes, it remains practically dead silent the entire time. When you finally, like the path that you followed of these footprints did not just go straight back. It kind of went. There are not a ton of. There's really only one beaten path, like man-made path in this forest, but there are, like the trail that you had to follow was more natural. It's like you've kind of been climbing over things and going through difficult areas and down into little valleys, and there's small little streams that you've crossed over. But the whole time, other than the noise of the lake or the stream, it has been dead silent. And as you follow this, you kind of acknowledge that you've been traveling south, more and more south, towards the mountain range that lines right up against the forest.
Okay.
And you eventually come to kind of a clearing area. You're not in the clearing; you're still in the shadows, but you recognize that the trees are getting thinner, and there's right where they come up to the mountain range, and it looks as though there's maybe a semicircle of open space that surround an entrance to into like what looks like maybe a cave.
And the footprints lead into there.
The footprints lead right into the cave.
My character once again rubs his chin and goes, suspicious. And is there a way to get there and still be in the shadows?
Unfortunately, there is not.
Okay, I'm gonna have to walk across the clearing. My character made peace with that. So he's gonna walk across. He's walking across the clearing to the cave entrance.
Okay, do you want to go in like immediately, or do you want to? What do you want?
Yeah, I just want to like poke my head in, and what do I see?
You really just see a dark tunnel leading back. You don't see anything up from your vantage point currently. You can't see far enough into the darkness. Even with your elven dark vision, what you see into the tunnel is mostly just rock walls and whatnot. You don't see like any particular presence of anything from that spot.
Okay, I'm gonna keep walking in.
Okay. At this point, there's obviously shadows within the cave, so you're covered up and invisible to at least the human eye. And as you walk in, you start to hear like voices coming that are kind of echoing through this tunnel. And as you get further into where I said you were looking at the walls, there are two tunnels. One goes right and one goes left.
I sit and listen and try to hear if I hear, like, listen to the direction of the voices.
Okay, do a roll. Do a perception roll.
So 16 in perception is governed by intuition.
Yeah.
So 18.
Okay. So after a few moments, not real long, you kind of get the impression that it's coming from the right. You feel pretty strongly about your call.
I am gonna head to the left then.
Okay. You say left?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you go to the left, the tunnel is curved, almost
Okay.
like as if it's going around a circle, and it's still very dark. There are no torches or anything on the walls or anything that would be illuminating it, but you do have reasonable vision with your dark vision. And as you get to where this tunnel ends up opening up a lot wider, it looks as though you've gone from where you started in half of a circle to a really wide open, we'll call it a den. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it. It's like a cavernous den. Den, not dim.
Yeah.
And then in the den area, you see what looks like maybe a lair has opened up, or a lair has been created.
I rub my chin again and go, suspicious. And I'm gonna sneak in, like, towards it.
Okay. Do another do a stealth check and a perception test.
So, stealth was a 6. Perception is a 15.
Okay, your perception first. You kind of start to get the feeling that there's no one in here, but you do, like, other than the voice you hear.
Mm-hmm.
And the voice you hear is just like a cry and a scream for help. They just repeatedly are yelling for help and is anyone there kind of stuff. And then the stealth check, even though it was low, isn't necessary because you realize that there doesn't seem to be anyone else here.
So I am gonna pull out my. I'm gonna call it a ghost dagger. I'm gonna call it that because that fits the theme. Ghost dagger. I'll give it a name. I am gonna pull it out and like have it like unsheathed at my hip, and I'm gonna start walking in there to see who is yelling help.
Okay. So when you enter, you see like a large bird cage shaped cage, and in the cage you recognize the little girl Sonia.
Okay, I'm gonna look around the room a little bit.
Okay. You there's just one room, and you come to realize that at the beginning when there was a right and left tunnel, they both have just circled around to this den area. So there's like two tunnels to the same location, but she's located on the right, so it kind of reverberated that way more easily.
Okay.
And the rest of the stuff is just it looks as though there's it seems, you get the impression that maybe this lair is just a makeshift quickly made lair. It's not a full-fledged I've set up shop here kind of lair.
Okay, I am gonna really quietly speak to Sonia. It's like,
Okay.
Sonia, what's going on? It's me, Tarn.
And she says, Tarn. And she recognizes you. She knew your name, but she's not like overly aware of you. You know, it's not like you guys don't have a relationship. And she says,
Yeah.
I just woke up here. I'm not sure how I got here.
Okay, have you seen anything?
I haven't. And she's kind of rubbing her eyes. You can't tell if it's because she's wiping the tears out of her eyes or if she's like maybe groggy or whatnot.
Okay, I want to look around and see if there's a key to that cage.
Okay. Do a perception test.
Oop. Yep, it is not working. That was a nat one.
So as you look around, you get the impression that there's no key. You have it's pretty clear that it's almost as if you start to think more and more like like, is there anything that's even using this as a lair, or are they leaving? Like, it's a very odd situation. Like, there's almost nothing in the den other than this cage and some, like, there's a small, it's not exactly a table, but it's like a makeshift table. And then some other cluttery things that are basically useless, but but there is a theme. Um, there's like a theme to the items, and they all seem to be um, I can't think of the word. This is not a great word for it, but I know it will deliver the message. They're almost Halloweenish kind of items.
Okay, so it's like a cynical, or not cynical, sinister type of.
Yeah, definitely, that's a good word.
Okay. Is Sonia a little bit chubby?
No, he's a petite little girl.
Okay, I'm just trying to think if she's gonna be somebody's chow time. I don't want to get. Um. All right, I'm just gonna try to like open the cage and see if it like open that way.
It will not open.
Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna get Sonia. Now, this sounds really crazy. I don't think there's a key here, and I can't get the thing open. So I'm gonna hide here in these shadows with this cloak. I'm gonna wait for whatever comes in. I'm gonna ambush them. I'm gonna get the key, and we're gonna get you out of here.
And she says, "I've been awake for several hours, and nothing has come in to the lair all day."
I'm gonna get. Did you hear that? And I'm gonna go hide in the shadow because I don't want to talk to her anymore.
So you wait here in the shadows for quite some time, but roughly. I mean, how long is your tipping point before you stop waiting?
I'm gonna wait like 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Nothing comes within the next 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna make it a little bit awkward and wait another 5 minutes.
There's nothing in the next 5 minutes.
All right. I'm gonna say, Sonia. Think I jumped the gun on that one.
She goes, "I tried to warn you."
All right.
It's not a. Do you want any kind of clue, or do you want to try to solve it?
I'm gonna try to solve it.
Okay.
I'm gonna look around at the items in the room. Do I see anything that I could kind of like shove into the keyhole and like pry it open?
Roll a perception test.
All right, there's what we got. A 19.
So I'm gonna ask you. I hate to do this, but how much do you want to learn with that 19? Do you want me to think of an idea that, like, for you, or do you? Because I'm not sure that there's really a. I don't know. I'm just in a weird situation. How much do you want to learn from this?
All right, I want to know just enough to kind of solve it.
Okay.
Like, just enough so that my character,
right,
but not like exactly know it.
Right. You look around, and as you're kind of going through all these different items on the makeshift desk, you see like it's kind of like it's a shit, what's the word? It's like a tree branch, but it's not a big tree branch. It's a smaller one. Like, think not literally, but think the size of like a wand, that kind of size. Okay. And it's very, very sharp at the tip.
Alrighty.
That's the only thing of any that would even resemble something that could help.
I am gonna pick that up.
Okay.
and I'm gonna shove it into the keyhole.
Okay. When it goes in, it fits, but it doesn't seem to have the strength to turn the knob or turn
Okay.
the mechanism.
So I'm gonna go, scratch my chin, and I'm gonna turn around onto the table and see if I can find anything to reinforce it.
There's nothing on there that would. Something does strike your eye, but it's not necessarily to reinforce the the twig or the stick. It's a. You didn't notice it at first because of what's on it, but it's like this really dusty mirror. It's a mirror, and when you wipe it off, like you know, like I guess what I'm trying to say is like if you were to wipe off something on a mirror, it's that kind of dusty. So it's pretty covered at first, so that's why it's difficult for you to have noticed a mirror at first.
Okay, I'm gonna hold the mirror up and kind of look around the room with the mirror, just to be sure there's nothing.
The dust in the mirror, like blocks any kind of reflection of being made.
All right, I'm gonna try to dust it off a little bit more.
And the dust doesn't come off of it at all. Like even when you try to get like gritty with your fingernail, like none of the dust or dirt will come off of it.
I'm gonna use the stick and try to like scrape some off.
Nothing will come off of it, but it's not completely covered, and you see an eye in the mirror. It's not your eye. There's nothing in there's nothing recognizable about it. You just see an eye.
I'm gonna talk.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try talking to the mirror. It's like, I see you.
The eye, nothing responds back, but the eye disappears very quickly.
All right, I'm gonna throw it against the wall. I'm gonna just shatter it.
Okay, it just shatters and falls to the ground.
I'm gonna pick up a glass shard.
All right.
And I'm gonna try to turn it in the keyhole.
Okay. So this time you hear a little and it unlocks.
I'm gonna go, wow, well that was pretty easy. Alright, Sonia, so we're gonna go and take you back to your mom. So follow close behind me. I'm gonna like put her into my cloak. Can I put her in my cloak? Or is it my cloak not big enough for that?
No, you can put her in, it's alright.
Alright, so I'm gonna say, I know it sounds weird, and I'm not into you. Wrap your arms around me. We're gonna go slow. We're gonna get to the boat, and we're gonna paddle across, and we're gonna get to the village. But do not say anything. And I know you have this reputation in the village of farting at like the worst possible moment. Try to hold it in.
She goes, all right, no farts.
And so we
said, just one. This wasn't a bad moment. I had to get it out.
and I just kind of like try to ignore the smell that's now stinking up the cave, and we start shuffling towards the cave entrance.
Okay, so as you approach the entrance, you notice that it's getting considerably darker out. It's still not pitch dark, but it's past evening at this point. It's getting dark, but it's still eerily quiet in the entire forest.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to make it across, or I'm gonna shuffle slowly across the clearing and get to a tree that has a shadow casted.
Okay.
And I'm gonna sit there and wait until I see if I hear anything or see anything.
Yeah, so you do actually. You hear this mesmerizing, like very soft, gentle voice say, why are you here?
I look around. Do I see anything?
You do not yet.
I say, did you say that, Sonia?
And she says, "No, I did hear it though."
Alright. That can never be anything good, so I'm gonna keep walking forward towards the lake again.
Okay, and you notice a do a perception test actually.
Alright, it is a 12, so it makes it a 14.
Okay, so you notice a kind of an odd change in Sonia. Like she's gone from sobbing and crying and almost pathetic to like perfectly okay at this point. Like she, and it's not just that she is confident in you. It's like nothing even happened. She almost seems disengaged from you at this point. After she said she heard the voice, she kind of seems totally different.
Okay, I am going to say, hey, Sonia, sit by this tree real quick. And I push her out my cloak and I sit there and just watch her.
Okay.
Is she aware where I am?
She won't sit still. She gets right back up.
Okay, I'm gonna watch her, but I'm gonna be watching her without her seeing me.
Okay. She kind of walks out into the clearing, and she's just kind of looking for you at this point, but like not curiously. Like you know how like a little kid might look a little scared looking for someone. It's not like that at all. She has like a very serious look and has this totally different demeanor about her. She just doesn't seem pathetic anymore. She seems more almost like an adult.
Alright, Sonia!
And she answers with like the same voice but a different tone, and it's almost like a mean tone. She's like, "Where are you?"
I said, so what's going on? What you need?
"I want to go home right now."
Yeah, about that. You're kind of, acting kind of bitchy. We gotta figure out what's going on here.
She says, "No, take me home right now."
It's gonna be like, alright, get back in the forest.
Get back in the forest, so he said.
Yeah.
She goes, "No, come out here and get me yourself."
Alright.
And then you notice she has something in her hands that she's just taken out from her waist. And she's kind of playing with it in her hands now. And you recognize it as your dagger that you were given by Arthur.
So that sneaky little bitch. Alright, I am going to. Is there any shadows on the ground?
Not well, yeah, in the clearing. So the like just to the halfway point.
Okay.
So like the trees to one side would be casting a shadow to about the halfway point, but then there's more lit area also halfway around, like the other half of it.
Alright, I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to just get as close as possible to her without her seeing me.
Yeah. She goes, and again, I'm not just trying to be disruptive and difficult. This is written stuff. You're just playing it kind of like the way it's playing out is the way it's playing out. And she goes, "I can see you, I know, you know."
Alright, so I'm just gonna take my cloak off and I'm gonna just walk straight up to her. It's like, alright, give me my dagger back.
And she goes, "This dagger? It's kind of a
Well,
puny dagger, isn't it?"
well, first off, this is a rhetorical question that you just asked me, so yeah, I just want that dagger.
She goes, "What will you give me for it?"
Well, first off, I am taking you back to the village, and you kind of stole that from me, so
I
give it
don't
to
see
me.
you taking me back to the village. We're just standing here in the forest.
Yeah, You kind of wandered off.
You told
Um,
me to come out here, you jerk.
I'm gonna punch her in the face and take my dagger. Do I have my dagger back yet?
So when you punch her in the face, do an attack roll.
Alright, I rolled a, okay, that was that's a 13. I don't think there's any modifiers. I guess it's a d4.
Yeah.
I do 3 damage.
So you clock her. She's just down. She doesn't see it coming at all. She just knocks. She falls straight to the ground, and as she falls back, her hand opens up, and the dagger falls out beside her on the ground.
I'm gonna put that back in my sheath in my on my belt,
Okay.
and I'm gonna kind of fireman's carry her on my shoulder, and I'm gonna walk through the forest.
Okay.
And
no cloak or cloak.
Cloak is the cloak wouldn't be like. Or I'm gonna do no cloak.
Okay. So as you're walking, are you following the trail of the feet back to?
I'm gonna be following it, but I'm gonna be a little bit away from it.
Okay. You hear again, and you hear this really soft, gentle voice say, why are you here?
Yeah, I'm gonna just like brush it off, and I'm just gonna keep walking towards the water.
Okay. And so after a little while, you don't encounter anything that would be confrontational. You know, the only thing you hear is this voice says, why are you here? And it's probably 2 or 3 more times over the course of your walk back towards the shore.
Alright, I'm just gonna keep ignoring it because I have a feeling that it'll be up to no good, whatever that voice is.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just keep walking.
All right. So you get back to the shore and you see your boat.
I'm gonna put her unconscious body onto the boat, and I'm gonna push off, and I'm gonna start rowing towards the village, but I'm gonna go like underneath the island and come up.
What do you
And I'm
mean
gonna
by that?
like I'm gonna go below or beneath, like below the island, and kind of swoop up.
How are you going to get your boat under the water?
Not under it, like the south part of the island, like go around it.
Oh.
Take that. I guess I was really.
Hell? It's like, how are you going to get to do that? So you want to try to get like a little U shape back to the village?
Take the longer way.
Okay.
And I kind of want to just stare at the island too while I'm going across it, or going to cross the lake.
Okay, so a couple things happen here. You notice, and at this point it's dark. The moon though is illuminating the area of the lake.
Okay.
You know what that looks like. So you see, how close to the island do you want to be?
I want to be probably about 250 feet away.
Okay. Let me think about that for a moment.
Or is that too far away?
No, that's within reason. I just want to get a feel for what everything's gonna have to be. You know how, so you're down below the island to the south, and when you get to that lower peak in that south point, you look towards, you see on the east something coming up out of the water and going onto the island.
I'm gonna slow my row a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to see if I can get a better look at it.
From this distance, all you can honestly see is that it's a humanoid type figure.
Alright. Because I have Sonia in my boat, I don't want to risk anything. I'm gonna start rowing again towards the village.
Okay. And you're going around, and you come to the western side of the island, and and then you have to travel north up towards Woodbury, and you arrive. Where do you want to head on the village? There are maybe 1 or 2 options for docks, and you came from the one at the northernmost part where Horace's shop is.
I want to do that and put it back there, but I also at the same time I want to put the oars behind the shed, and so not like exactly putting him or turning him because I might want to take him out later.
Well, technically, just so we're on the same page, you've bought this boat.
Oh, I bought it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I'm just gonna.
the oars are yours and the boat is yours.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the oars. I'm gonna also put it behind the shed just so that nobody else takes them.
Okay, do you want to do any kind of perception for. Actually, I want you to roll this perception check.
All right. Well, that's a 19.
Okay. So as you lift Sonia up out of the boat and put her on the dock, and then you get up out and you're pulling your oars up and you've put them away, and you go back to get Sonia, you take a look at the all of the boats. You just kind of get a feel for all of them, and at this point there are four because you've brought one back. You see two of them are starting to fill up with black water. The black water is coming up from the bottom of it.
Okay. I'm like, suspicious. And I'm gonna put her up in a fireman's carry,
Okay.
and I'm gonna kind of quickly walk away from the boats.
Hey Ty, instead of there being four boats, there are three boats. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, there's three, but the two that you see are
The
and
two that aren't mine.
right. Those are filling with black water, and then there's as far as I know, there is another boat off the ground out of the water and off the shore, or I'm sorry, on the shore, out of the water.
I want to go look at that boat real fast and see why that one's out of the water.
Okay. So as you're looking around, do a perception just to make sure. It's not a real tough one.
10.
Okay, lucky. So as you're looking at this boat, you see, you know how when you're in a boat, half of it's submerged and half of it's not.
Yeah.
So the bottom half of this boat seems as though the wood is starting to be eaten away at.
Alright, I'm gonna put Sonia on the ground and I'm gonna pull my boat. Can I pull my boat on the shore?
Yeah, if you'd like to. It's going to take a strength check to pull it up onto the dock, but if you'd like to move it somewhere else, you could probably get it out easier.
I rolled an 18 just to put it on the dock.
Okay, that's fine.
Alright, so it's out of the water then?
Yeah, you hoist it up onto the dock, and you just kind of, you hear the water sloshing off of it as you pull it up out, and it's got some water down where it's been submerged in the water when you were using it. It's like not dry, obviously. It was just in water.
So I'm gonna pick Sonia back up.
Okay.
And I'm gonna like run as fast as possible to the gathering and like kind of yell for Arthur.
Okay, so when you get to the gathering place, the front door is now locked, but it's nothing more than just knocking, and Arthur, you hear him kind of coming down his stairs from up in his living area, and he unlocks the door and he greets you and he says, "Tarn, you found Sonia."
Arthur, there is some weird shit going on right now.
He says, "Well, I think I could have told you that. But why? What have you found?"
Well, first off, I saw this humanoid thing that was coming out of the water into the Tiger Island. And yeah, I don't know exactly what it is or what it was, but it came out of the water, out of the black water. And I saw the footprints going up to the enchanted forest. And I followed it to this cave, and Sonya was like in a bird cage almost. And then she got like really weird.
Did she fall asleep on the way back?
Um, no, I clocked her.
You clocked her. What? Why would you hit a
I
little kid?
well,
Tarn.
first off, I needed her because she was screaming and all doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Her captor might have gave her some sugar, and I just needed to make her quiet.
What kind of crazy stuff was she doing, Tarn?
Uh, is he like looking at me like judgmental?
He's more inquisitive at this point. He goes.
Well,
He also, but he then real quick. He also says that doesn't sound anything like the Sonia I know.
that's kind of the thing. She kind of turned into a different Sonya.
What do you mean?
It's like she got really bitchy and angry and mean, and all of a sudden, and I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was right as soon as dusk fell.
Well,
Anyways,
we should definitely alert Lily that Sonia has been found.
yeah. So I am going to give you her that. So now she is your problem. And yeah, so I am gonna go and I was like, well, all right. So you go talk to Lily and tell her all that stuff. She's kind of weirds me out a bit, so I don't want to be there when it happens. Just say it's no big deal.
She did promise you payment. Would you like me to collect it for you?
Yeah, and could you give it to Reagan?
Yes, I can take care of that for you.
All right. And
Tarn,
so,
we're going to need your help in the future. Are you willing to help? I actually just enlisted the help from two other elves. Do you know Corin and Amaryl?
so vaguely, I've seen them around.
Yes, they they too have agreed. Well, they have agreed to help figure out. And he actually sits. He asks you to come in for just a few. He says,
Okay.
I would like to talk to you a little more, uh, Tarn. Would you mind?"
All right. So I'll sit down.
So you're in the meeting hall area, which I don't want it to seem exactly like a church, like where what the hell is it called? When like the different pews and things. What's that called?
Mm-hmm.
What's that called?
Just kind of like an aisle,
The
like walking down like
like
a
the area you meet.
oh, a
Like,
sanctuary.
I guess I don't know, wherever you would sit in like the long things and then listen to
Yeah.
the whatever. It's not like that necessarily, but similar.
Okay.
And you guys sit down in one of the rows of seats, and he says, "We Woodbury is dying, Tarn. There are very few crops left. There's no economy to speak of. There's nothing. There's nothing here for our people. I'm trying to convince everyone that it's best that we travel east towards the enchanted forest and see if there's some type of civilization to the east that we can become part of. But these recent developments are causing a lot of animosity and distrust and fear in the village. I've just spoken to Corin and Amaryl about trying to solve what's the cause of the smoke in the distance and the black water of the lake, and they set out on their journey today, and hopefully I have heard back from them, but they have not solved much yet. They too spoke of the same the same figure coming out of the water on their journey today. Do you We need your help, Tarn. I believe this is going to be something that's far greater than what the two of them can do alone.
All right. Sure. I guess. Where are they now?
So at this point, it's nighttime. So you've crossed over the threshold of time that they would have been completing. So they have not spoken yet to Arthur. but I
Hmm.
know, what they will tell him. I would think I've made a little bit of an assumption, but we're getting to that point where it's kind of blurry for me. Um, and they would now, at this point at night, they would probably be at home. But the last I saw them before during the day, they were um, at Josh's character's house, going to him because he didn't go with them on their journey. They had gone back to meet him. At this point, though, he probably won't even be part of the campaign, so they're just at that starting point there.
Okay, I'm gonna head that. I gotta turn to.
Oh, he says
Art.
one more thing, real quick. Well, actually, do you have a question for him, or were you about to leave?
I was going to talk to Arthur
Okay, go ahead.
uh, about what did they see with this watery figure, if they got a better look.
So they did not get any better look than you did, but they saw the watery or the figure in the water at two different locations. One way up north by the northern mountain range, and then one where they were. So I don't know how much you would actually know this. They also saw him at the lake. They saw him going in the lake, going up onto the island. Also,
I'm gonna go. Maybe we passed each other, going a different direction. Is there anything else you need to talk about, Arthur? If not, I'm gonna go and go to bed or get back to my house and get some sleep.
I need you to try to reinforce leaving this area as you like any opportunity you get. Um, Dell, Dell is I don't know exactly what, but I don't trust him as much as I used to. He he and I don't see eye to eye on this idea of leaving the village behind and traveling east. So if you know of anything or see anything strange with him, please alert me.
I nod my head and I stand up and I reach out and shake his hand.
He shakes your hand and he says, "You are a remarkable man," or referring to you as a man, not just a human. He says, "I can't thank you enough for bringing Sonia back."
And I say, it's not a big deal. I walk out and I go and kind of creep into Reagan's house, not wake him up.
Okay, Esmeralda is actually still there. She now lives with Reagan, and you just kind of sneak into the living room area, and or like the main entry. It's not a living room, and then creep back into your room. Is that I assume that's where you want to live? Okay,
Yeah,
you'll creep back to where you sleep, and is that where you want to do? Fall asleep?
yeah,
Alrighty. Is that where you want to end? That's probably the most information I can get you through at this point.
yeah. That's fine. That's fine. So I need to write down whispers in the woods.